Hello, welcome to the Skill Check for Positive Gaming podcast from YMC Exeter. My name is Andy.
And my name is Becky.
I've got no idea what I was doing with my hands just then.
It's got like rubbing his hands in glee.
If you watch us on YouTube, I was doing this weird kind of hand rubbing thing, like I was cold.
I mean, I don't know if you could. I mean, you pointed it out now, and everyone's going to be looking. So
I probably shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Becky, save me, and let's talk about what's coming up next.
We're talking about vampire therapists today. Yeah. Woo, what a thing to talk about. We've obviously got Andy's Game of the Week. But first we have...
Gaming News. We have Gaming News.
Our first piece of gaming news this week is 2 classic games from the roots of first-person shooters are getting even better, as seen in a listing on Steam as QuakeCon 24 kicks off. ID Software Doom and Doom 2 are being combined in a new enhanced bundle. The bundle includes a number of improvements with 4K and 120 FPS support on compatible hardware. Now the games are running on the KEX engine, as well as the crossplay for up to 16 players and newly accessible options like font changes, text to speech, speech to text, and more. Players can also swap between the original soundtrack and the newest version from composer Andrew Holschult, who previously worked with ID Software for the soundtrack on Doom's Eternal Ancient Gods DLC. The latter option also includes some new recordings for Doom 2. Are you excited about this?
I'm so excited. I'm actually on my screen right now. I'm double checking what I thought I saw last night.
Okay. Which is?
It looks like it's on Game Pass.
Hey! And he gets excited when things are on Game Pass.
I mean, there's definitely Doom and Doom 2 on Game Pass. New release as of yesterday. Am I still here?
I don't think I've ever played Doom. I was trying to think.
So Doom is, technically not the grandfather of the first-person shooter, but it's one of them.
Yeah. It's
one of the kind of big 3D shoot-em-ups from back in the day.
Yeah.
The original Doom, that is. I'm sounding old, aren't I?
You are sounding
excited
old.
about the old game from my youth having a remaster. It is simply running around blasting monsters.
Woohoo!
Plenty of complaints about it back in the day.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some gore involved, but it was all kind of obviously computer generated gore.
Nice. So you're excited to see some more computer generated gore there, Andy?
Well, it's more about kind of blasting and stuff. And sorry, I'm getting distracted by checking out the graphics on my laptop.
He's looking at the graphics. I'm sure if you want to see it, you can Google it.
Look like there's been some improvement, but very much still keeping in the late 90s feel.
Nice.
In that it doesn't look...
This is like reliving... I want to say reliving your youth, but I feel like it might have been heading into adulthood at that time.
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
I'm just being rude. It's fine.
I mean, it might be reliving my youth. I might be dating myself for this podcast.
Yeah. Let's move on before he actually does date himself. Our second piece of gaming news this week is video game voice actors continue to strike in an effort to push gaming companies towards a deal on AI protection for all actors. But while CEOs at major publishers like EA and Take-Two don't think the strikes will have a short-term business impact, Take-Two CEO Strauss Zelnick acknowledges that a long-term strike wouldn't be good for anyone. EA CEO Andrew Wilson says he doesn't expect an immediate impact on business that to be expected, given that technically games in production before August 25th, 2023 are not officially struck work. While actors can still opt to express solidarity by refusing to work on them, it seems likely that most of the Take-Two's upcoming slate of games already has most of its acting work complete anyway. GTA 6, for instance, isn't expected to be impacted. But should the strike wear on for longer, potentially impacting projects signed since last year on which which don't have acting work captured yet. Zelnick admits it wouldn't be a good thing.
I mean, it's a complicated thing to try and predict in that games that are currently being worked on, the games that we know about, they're not going to be impacted because, well, the voice acting work has probably been done.
Yeah.
Or it sounds like even if it's in the middle of been doing it, if the contract's been signed, people are obligated to do it.
Yeah, so I think if you're...
But newer games or games that haven't been started.
Yeah, so if your game started production before August 25 last year, then it's not officially work that people can strike on, although actors can choose to do it on that anyway, on the basis of like solidarity. But then, it depends. I mean, I think it was the same a bit with the actors' strike, which is why there aren't loads of massive films coming out in the last sort of 6 to 8 months, is because they had a huge actors' strike last year, which got resolved, but it meant that films got pushed back. And it's the same with this, like things that, like if it.
So I imagine we'll see very much the same.
Yeah,
won't we? In that we'll have a lower input, a lower output, I should say, of games at some point in the future, or at least a lower output of games that would normally feature kind of voiceover work. Yeah,
we'll just be silent games, silent gaming. Our last piece of gaming news, it's rumours are swirling that Warner Brothers may be exiting the video game industry. Along with its recent blunders in the gaming sphere, the mass media company seems to be trying to make up for its current market share price. The report has been widely spread by gaming news-related users on social media, such as Hazarder Gaming on X. Their post links back to an article from Financial Times, which contains a few excerpts on the matter from an anonymous source. According to the article, Warner Brothers have been on thin ice with its investors since the merger with Discovery in 2022, which was supposed to be an opportunity to reorganize its assets for the better. However, questionable business decisions and perhaps even more questionable leaderships have led to Warner Brothers stock value being way below what it should be reportedly. Due to the competitive nature of the gaming industry and the costs of producing new films and television series, the company's gaming division may face repercussions as a cost-cutting measure. They had a few flops.
Yeah, Suicide Squad hasn't exactly hit the ground running in the way that they wanted it to be. There's a lot of talk about almost creating everything as a live service model a while back, and it's like, well, why? Yeah. Hogwarts Legacy, massive game.
Huge game.
Not a live service game.
Yeah.
It's like, why are you looking at one particular type of game?
Yeah.
And learning the wrong lessons. Just focus on making good games.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of companies could learn that though at the moment. Games that don't bug immediately. Yeah. Games that don't bug immediately as you release them. That'll be great.
Well, yeah, there's that too.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the end of gaming news.
Interesting, actually. The last news report featured something from the Financial Times.
Okay.
In that somehow I stumbled over a Financial Times article this week.
Okay.
And I say somehow because normally it's kind of seems to be paywalled and I can't read.
You can't read it without paying money for it.
And I don't do that often.
Fair.
But I kind of saw this. I was like, wait, what? And I'm reading through, and they were talking about a game called, well, to start with, they were talking about a video game. I didn't expect that from Financial Times.
Yeah.
Which is kind of my point, because that's two articles about video games in Financial Times that suggested some sort of reason for people who have financial interests to be interested in video gaming.
Yeah.
Not the point of this middle section, but I just want to throw it out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's big business.
Well,
so,
yeah.
It's there's stock prices and things like that. They all gaming stock prices, and there's publicly traded companies, anything like that will go through there. So it's a big business for them.
Yeah, and I'm like, but this article itself was very much focused on mental health benefits of game. Well, maybe not less mental health benefits, but how video games are dealing with mental health issues.
Yeah.
And looking at it. And the game that we're particularly focused on, and it may well have sold me the game, is a game called Vampire Therapist.
So this is why we said in the introduction that we're talking about vampire therapists.
Yes. Where you are literally a vampire who leaves his kind of vampire ways behind.
Yeah.
To train in the art of therapy.
Beautiful. Because that's what you do, right? If you've been a vampire for many hundreds of years, you're going to train to be a therapist.
Why not? I mean, maybe he woke up one day, had a rush of blood to the head.
Yep.
And thought, I'm going to help make the world a better place.
Yep.
So to read the description here, your clients fly in through a window as bats and transform before the open fire. Among them are scientists addicted to synthetic blood, a thespian who is a contemporary of Shakespeare, and there's others. They all have a distinct package of neuroses to be untangled. The game draws from a framework of cognitive behaviour therapy, asking you to identify unhelpful thought patterns in their conversation and point them out. With smart pacing and witty dialogue, it sounds more like an advert now. It feels more entertaining than educational, but you might go away able to identify and remedy similar patterns in your own thoughts and conversations. Okay, so the last section is taken from the Financial Times.
Yeah.
But I was kind of very much struck at how the Financial Times is kind of identifying what the video game does and actually what you can learn from the game you are playing.
Yeah. I
was like, cool.
It's nice that it's getting recognised, isn't it? Like, I think it's an interesting way of working out whether you can identify stuff in your own behaviour that's maybe... And it's maybe a way of visiting... Not that I would suggest that this is a good way of avoiding going to a therapist if you need to go to a therapist.
Maybe not a vampire therapist, but... it's a good way of,
like, getting... Like, seeing what the thought patterns are. And, like, there's obviously some research in, like, cognitive behavioural therapy and stuff that they've used in the game, which then could help you in your own life and work out the patterns in your own life that are necessarily not helping you. So, yeah.
Which can only be a positive as long as you're prepared for that.
Yeah.
The article kind of goes on to talk about kind of other video games that deal with mental health very much, kind of the sort of stuff that we've done before.
Yeah.
But I particularly love how they sum it up. That the games that best broach mental health are those which understand how gaming can be a powerful engine for empathy, since you experience its stories not as a passive viewer, but as an active player. Yet in order to embrace the complexity and messiness of human feelings, developers must abandon some of the core precepts of gaming. Whereas there is conventionally a win state to every game, when you beat the bad guy and you save the kingdom. Mental equilibrium requires more nuance. Emotional progress is not always linear. Sometimes you won't be able to go back to the way you were before. It all takes time to understand, as I keep telling my vampire therapy clients, it's a process.
Well, it's beautiful, isn't it?
I think I've just solved the game to myself.
Are you going to play it now? Is it going to come up on Andy's Game of the Week in a future episode?
It might do.
And now it's time for Andy's Game of the Week. Andy, what is your game this week?
Crash Bandicoot has finally arrived to Game Pass. So one of the Activision games.
Yep.
And one of the Activision games that a lot of people have been looking out for.
Yep.
Personally, I've seen it on sale quite a bit. I'm like, no.
I already own it.
I know you do. Talk to me about Crash Bandicoot.
I love Crash Bandicoot. So it's a runner game.
Yeah.
So you run. You just run. That's all you do. And you have to hit boxes and hack apples and jump up and down things and jump over gaps and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's a 3D platformer. Yeah. It's like very much... Yeah. And that's it, innit? You've described it very succinctly.
I'm good at that. Yeah, I mean, I played it a lot when I was a kid on the PlayStation 1 back in the day.
Yeah.
That's how old I am.
I think graphics have improved a little bit. They've kind of remastered
and then
they
remastered it, and now you can play it on all kinds of things. So, because it was pre Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard.
Yeah.
It's available on other platforms.
Yeah. You can get it on Switch.
Yeah.
You can get it on Xbox. It's a good family-friendly platformer.
Yeah. You're a bandicoot, and he runs.
So back in the day, and forgive me if I'm wrong, basically, you had Mario on the Nintendo, you had Sonic on the Sega systems. Sony PlayStation had Crash Bandicoot as its platformer mascot character of choice. Mm-hmm. You can now get it on Microsoft. Is basically the headline, and basically the game is fun, and it's a platformer. You go around eating apples, jumping on monsters.
You don't
animals.
Eat apples. You collect the apples. You collect the apples, and then you get a life.
But isn't that because you've ate so many apples?
You eat 100 apples. You get 100 apples. You get an extra life.
Okay, but what are you doing with these apples? We're just gonna keep squabbling over this, aren't we? We should probably call time.
Yep.
Before we keep arguing over, because you're not carrying the apples around with you.
Yes. No. You don't carry the apples around with you.
It's not like an inventory system. You don't throw the apples.
Yeah.
We need to finish this.
We need to finish. Yeah. Okay. Well, that is all we've got time for today. Crash Bandicoot is available on all of the platforms, and also it's probably available quite cheaply these days as well. Yeah. And you can get it on Xbox Game Pass now as well.
Yeah.
That's all we've got time for this week. We are not around for the next week. We're back in September now.
Yeah, we'll be back at the start of September.
Yeah. Because we're all on holiday, and it's the August holidays and school holidays and stuff. But if you do want to follow us, please do follow us at YMCA Exeter and at YMCA Exeter Games, and you can find us on YouTube and all kinds of other places. And if you are on YouTube, hello and goodbye. And we will see you in September.
See you then.